suck a dick! That would have been funnier. We knew what he did. We knew that he did, but he can't know. She's so annoying. Shut up, Granger! Draco shouts. I turn to him automatically. He's got flecks of spit on his chin. Keep your fat mouth of yours shut for once! How dare you drape yourself all over my father, right in front of me, close to your projector! Lucius rebounds the curse as quick as a flash, and without thinking what I'm doing, I instinctively reach down and grip it. His hand in gratitude. Draco sees this, of course. His eyes become narrow slits for a moment before he seems to droop suddenly. You're learning, Draco, Lucius says in a cold, clipped drawl. I'm improving all the time. You never took me by surprise? You nearly took me by surprise there. Draco just looks at his father. His eyes brighten. I know how that feels, he mutters. Lucius and I watch as Draco takes a deep, shuddering breath without taking his eyes off his father's face. I slip my hand out of Lucius's grip. Do you know what it's like to have your values shattered by the only person who built them up in the first place? He whispers. Do you have any idea how that makes me feel? You betrayed me, father. Lucius takes a deep breath through his nose. If you feel that way, it's not my fault, he mutters. You put far too much faith in others, Draco. I've told you that time and time again not to do that. You should have realized long ago that you can only rely on yourself in this world, because everything and everyone else will only betray you in the end, albeit sometimes unwilling. I feel cold, but that's nothing to how Draco must be feeling. He looks desperately into his father's face. Why can't Lucius just see that Draco loves him? Or if he already knows it, why can't he just show him some affection? If in reality it's all false. After all, are what's true and what we believe really all that different? Draco swallows down hard. His eyes begin to shine with tears, and an ugly flush of humiliation spreads across his cheeks. Why can I never do enough to please you? His voice shakes with suppressed anger. He's been wanting to say this for years. I know he has. Lucius looks at him stonily. He offers no reassurance whatsoever. What are you trying to say? Draco takes a deep breath through his nose, obviously trying to calm himself down. I wish I could dissolve into the floor. I shouldn't be here in this moment. I know that I shouldn't. All I've ever tried to do is live up to your expectations, to make you proud. His voice wobbles all over the place, despite his best efforts to control it. And it's never been enough, ever. And now I find it all a waste of time. Lucius rolls his eyes. Reprimand my mistakes I have made with the mudblood if you must, Draco. He drawls. But don't simper all over me. I'll not endure it. Draco looks at his father. Just hit him. I can't help but feel sorry for him. If Lucius would just, just hug Draco, or something, or even just tell him that he loves him, then he would probably make up for all the crushing disappointment Draco feels right now. But instead he just gets a cold look, a slightly raised eyebrow and narrowed eyes. He presses his lips together for a moment, seeming to struggle with himself, before he bursts out. Do you have any idea what it's been like growing up in your shadow? All I've ever been told is that one day I'll follow in your footsteps. You yourself told me time and time again that when the Dark Lord came back into power, I would serve him as you have done. You've been telling me that since I was old enough to talk. Without even thinking about it, I step forward, words escaping my throat before I can even think about them. Draco, it doesn't have to be this way, I whisper, desperate. That he should calm down before anyone can hear us. Your father might be beyond damn it! Redemption! Fuck! God! Your father might be beyond redemption, but you're not. You could be a better person than he is. Draco turns to me with a look of absolute hatred. Not just fury, but pure and utter loathing. But his wand does not turn with him. He remains where it is, positioned in midair, pointing at his father. I feel Lucius step up closer behind me, his wand still raised, and Draco's eyes flash when he sees this. A bad person. He spits the words at me. I want like you mean. You're so bloody self-righteous, Granger. Who are you to lecture me on what's right and wrong, after what you've been doing to my mother? I close my mouth like a trap in pure abashed humiliation because he's right. I can't claim a real moral high ground over him. Not anymore. Not just because of what I've been doing to his mother. There's that old dark secret Lucius has in mind. I became a murderer to save his life. A hard look of defiance creeps into Draco's gaze as he turns away from me to face Lucius once again. I never really noticed it before, that his eyes are almost as expressive as his father's. Why should I keep this secret for you? He whispers. Lucius raises his wand slightly. Draco's treading on a thin line, I know it. I can see his father trying to keep his temper under control. You're suggesting that you might do otherwise? He says quietly. The fear on Draco's face is slowly hardening into a cold, hard rage. You told me yourself so many times that loyalty to a pure-blood cause comes above family ties. He's breathless, but with anger or fear, who can say? No doubt you're always talking about Andromeda on her side of the family, but why doesn't the same rule apply to you? Oh, God damn it! I swear to God, now it's like every time she says that, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're so annoying. He's really gonna do it. He's going to condemn me and my father in return for years in return to I can't even say it right. God damn it. He's really gonna do it. I have to say it like I'm like emotional. If I just read it, I'm like, what? English? He's going to condemn me and his father in return for years of neglect on Lucius's part. I'm shaking. I'm really, really shaking. And I can't ask Lucius to hold me and make everything better, because that would just make everything worse. Lucius' expression is unflinching. After all, he's a master of hiding his emotions. If you want to tell the Dark Lord what you have discovered, I will not stop you. For God's sakes, is he even going to try and stop him? But no, I know what he's doing. He's calling Draco's bluff. He's a master strategist. His son could never match up to him. That's why his voice is refusing to shake, while Draco's wobbles all over the place. Draco hesitates, his wand shaking furiously in his hand, and Lucius takes advantage of his indecision. But you must realize, Draco, that if you do decide to tell him, then you will no longer have a father. He murmurs. My life, and that of the Mudblood, will be over in a brief second it will take for the Dark Lord to mutter a killing curse. Draco's already pale face turns marble white, but he seems to hold firm. I know that, he hisses. I'm not stupid, father. Did I suggest you were? Is it silver? There's a silver of urgency in Lucius's voice, so fine, so small that if you wouldn't know it if you didn't know him. You wouldn't know it was there if you didn't know him. But he said to me a long time ago that he wasn't afraid to die. There were worse things than death. So he would be the poor excuse of a Death Eater if he feared it. So why does he seem to care so much about dying now? Because it's not his life that's on the line, is it? But that would mean... Think about it. If you die, then what would be left for him? You've taken everything else. Draco's wand seemed to lower a fraction. I should tell him, he mutters, his voice desperate. I know that you would do the same if the roles were reversed. My breath clogs in my lungs with terror, and I know. I don't want to die. I don't want him to die. Lucius' reaction gives nothing away. His face is a blank mask. Draco's wand lowers further and further, and so slowly until it eventually rests loose in his hand by his side. But how can I condemn my own father? But I couldn't condemn my own father. Could I? Tears are rolling down, slowly down his cheeks, and I feel like I'm watching something indecent and wrong. Draco Malfoy doesn't cry, and if he does, he certainly doesn't want a mudblood that destroys all of his illusions to see it. Lucius' face doesn't flicker. If anything, all his face shows is scorn. Draco swallows, and then he speaks again. When he speaks again, his voice cracks. I just can't. He takes a step forward towards his father, his eyes bright and shining. I couldn't do that to you. I'd do anything for you, Father, you know that. It's like watching a puppy that still looks hopeless for its owner after it's been abandoned. I feel tears of sympathy starting the back of my throat. Lucius has no sympathy, no pity. His face is like a rock. His face is rock hard. Sometimes I wonder if I taught you anything at all, Draco. Surely by now you know never to lower your wand in front of your adversary, he mutters before a flash. He picks his wand. He flicks his wand at his own son, stupefied. What? The shock doesn't die from from Draco's face as he falls backwards, stumbling on the floor, unconscious. I watch numbly as Lucius steps towards his own son, and points his wand at him. His face betraying his utter relief. Obliviate. Draco's eyes flutter for a moment before he closes them again, as his memory is wiped away forever. That is the definition of a dick move. I like how he's just like, you're a dumbass. He's like, I didn't teach you anything. Lower your wand in front of your enemy, you goddamn idiot. I am so embarrassed that you are my son. It's like, he's standing there being like, I'm gonna save you, Daddy. I'm not gonna hurt you. Don't worry. And he's like, you fucking idiot. You should have killed me when you had the chance. Oh, Lucius. Such a great father. Oh, yeah. Anyways,